An Indiana officer has been arrested for intimidation and battery on other officers. Can you believe it? What's up, all my fellow lunatics out there? How are you doing this evening? Hopefully, pretty well. Now, we got another one, of course, like always, kind of wild. This just shows you how entitled, some cops, many cops feel. This outlines it really well. This also kind of shows you why they feel so entitled. I mean, this officer not only burnt his girlfriend's stuff, who was also an officer. He then intimidated and battered other officers. And would you guess his bail was set at $30,000, with only 10% of that needing to be paid, meaning he got out after paying $3,000? Yeah. Well, like I've said before, this video might go past 10 minutes. If it does, and you're on TikTok, jump over to my YouTube, catch the whole thing, don't miss any of it. You're going to want to hear the end. And you can catch me on TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, all the above. With that being said, let's get into this one. And this report is coming from WBLW News. And here we go. An officer has been arrested for intimidation and battery charges. Crane Village, a former Lawrence County Sheriff's Department deputy and law enforcement officer on the Crane base, has been arrested. On Sunday, February 14th at 11:40 a.m., the Martin County Sheriff received a complaint from a resident on Blandley Street in Crane Village that John David Flynn had a fire that was popping coals on the complainant's roof. The caller stated it was not an emergency and the fire department was unnecessary. Martin County Sheriff Deputy Matthew Branham arrived at 12:04 p.m. to find the fire was almost out. The neighbor told police he had past issues with Flynn and that Flynn would fire guns and blow up things in Flynn's yard. And every time he called the Martin County Sheriff's Department, nothing was done because he was law enforcement on the Crane base. The neighbor stated Flynn was drunk all the time and burned his girlfriend's police equipment. Deputy Branham drove to Flynn's property to find smoldering black material, but did not locate any police gear in the fire. Deputy Branham knocked on his door, and Flynn's girlfriend, April King, also an officer at Crane, answered. Flynn came out the door, and according to the police, Flynn was intoxicated. Deputy Branham told him why he was there, and Flynn became hostile. Flynn stated, quote, "I can do whatever I want on my property." Flynn squatted down and told Deputy Branham, quote, "I am an officer at Crane and a law enforcement officer for over 32 years, and before that, a Lawrence County deputy." Deputy Branham told Flynn he should get it and understand that I am just here to check on things. Flynn then called Deputy Branham a bitch, and again said he could do whatever he wanted on his property. His girlfriend kept trying to calm Flynn down. Deputy Branham left the scene and headed back towards Lagooty when at 12:26 p.m. another caller and a different neighbor reported Flynn was hostile and started firing a gun. Deputy Branham requested additional officers and Indiana State Police. The Indiana State Police Trooper and Martin County Sheriff's Department Captain Larry Gibson responded. When speaking with Master Trooper John Wilson, Flynn got hostile and used profanity. Indiana State Police Trooper David Quakenbush, that's right, David Quakenbush, arrived to assist. Flynn tried returning to the house but would stop, become hostile, and aggressively walk back towards the officers. King would get between him and the officers and try to calm Flynn. After several minutes, officers attempted to arrest Flynn, who continued to resist and pull away from them. Flynn continued to make threatening comments to the officers. He told Captain Gibson, "If I see you outside, I am going to put you in the ground." Yeah, not on the ground, in the ground. Flynn kicked the police car. That is when Master Trooper John Wilson asked Martin County officers to leave to help defuse the situation. Where in the hell have you ever heard of a citizen, just not a cop, but a citizen, kicking a cop car and the captain telling everybody, "You guys need to just back off, maybe just take off so we can defuse the situation"? Nah, no freaking way in hell. You'd have every officer on scene tackling your dumbass. Like, this is what makes them feel like they're so entitled. They can almost do what they want up until it gets to a point where it's going to be exposed and the police actually have to do something about their own kind. Martin County EMS arrived at the scene to evaluate Flynn. However, he refused medical treatment. Indiana State Police tried for 45 minutes to get Flynn into a police car. He refused to ride with Captain Wilson. He refused to ride with Captain Wilson, Martin County Sheriff's Department. Flynn was finally placed in a Laguna Police Department vehicle, and officers laid him down to prevent injury. When did they ever care about preventing injury to a hostile suspect? I mean, seriously, I don't know. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. But let's continue. While being transported to Martin County Security Center, Flynn was kicking the seat, fighting and kicking the center console. So if he's kicking the center console, it sounds like they not only babied this man, they put him in the front seat, because there's no cop car I've ever been in the back of that's had a center console that I could be booting the hell out of. Jesus. Anyhow, Officer Justin Davis had to pull over and restrain Flynn in leg shackles. While restraining Flynn, he said, "If you take me to the hospital in these, I am going to bust your face." Jesus Christ. Flynn then started hitting his head off the window. Officer Davis stopped yet again, and when he opened the door, Flynn slipped out of the leg restraints and attempted to flee. How loose were those leg restraints? He just slipped out of them and tried to run away? I mean, he was taken back into custody by Captain Larry Gibson and Indiana State Police Trooper Steve Nolan. Flynn then requested medical treatment. He was taken to Davies Community Hospital. Once medically cleared, he was transported to the Martin County Jail. King refused to give police Flynn's identification at the scene. King was his girlfriend. If you haven't, don't quite remember who King was, that was her last name. But she refused to give his information at the scene, so the Crane Police Department was contacted and Flynn was identified. Captain Gibson suffered an arm injury with a bruise and lump starting to form during the altercation with Flynn. I don't know about you, but when you get a bruise on your arm, it's a bruise. But when you start getting a lump, depending on the size of the lump, I guess, or how it looks, it sounds to me like a fractured arm. But that's just my speculation. Flynn continued to be hostile towards jail staff. Flynn is facing charges of battery on a law enforcement officer, 2 counts of intimidation of a law enforcement officer, criminal recklessness with a firearm, and resisting arrest. His bond is set at $30,000 with 10% allowed. King paid, his girlfriend paid $3,000, and Flynn was released on Tuesday. He has pled not guilty. What? Just what? Some of these stories, they all pretty much trip me out. And, I read the headline, I skimmed through the first couple of paragraphs, and I decide if I'm going to tell this story or not. So, like I've said before, my reactions are genuine. I really, I really don't know a lot about these. I did skim this case to the bottom, so I knew about his, like, his bail, but I really didn't read the whole news report. So, yeah, it's insane. Anyhow, he is scheduled to appear in Martin County Circuit Court on February 20th for a review hearing at 10 a.m. And yeah, if you want me to keep on up on this case, if you want to know more about it, let me know. I'll do what I can to follow up on it to find out what his sentence was, or if he's gonna plead guilty, like if they drop the charges or some of the charges. What I'm curious about is when the neighbor said he burnt his girlfriend's police equipment. If that's true, why didn't he get like charged with destruction of what's that, like city property or county property? You know what I mean? Because I can only imagine, like, if I was to grab a policeman's belt and set it on fire, I'm pretty sure I would get charged with that. You know what I mean? But anyhow, if you stuck around to the end, thank you. I appreciate it. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot. And until the next time, stay wild.